Merry Christmas and welcome to Hear These Words. Today we learn all about the Christmas readings that we have all set up, where we get the classic reading from Luke, we get a beautiful prophecy from Isaiah, and then a little bit of transformation from Titus. So join us for this special episode of Hear These Words. Welcome to this week's episode of Hear These Words, a video series and podcast from Good Shepherd Episcopal Church in Tequesta. I'm Sanford Groff.
I'm Alex Sarah Wolfington.
And it's great to have you on this special episode of Hear These Words for Christmas. We're going to talk all about Christmas and the readings that have been assigned for us, as we do every week from the Revised Common Lectionary. It is year A, but Christmas actually transcends the years, and there are three choices we get, 1, 2, and 3 on Christmas, and we're choosing 1.
Excellent.
Great. The words we hear today are Luke chapter 2, 1 through 20, Isaiah 9, 2 through 7, Psalm 96, and Titus 2, 11 through 14. Alex, great to have you on for Christmas.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sorry we don't have like a whole
I know. I should
set.
have found an ugly. I don't have an ugly Christmas sweater actually.
I should have worn it.
I don't even. It
would have been
one.
helpful
What's
today.
up with that?
I know.
I need to get one.
Anything that you do as a family as a Christmas tradition, or?
We are pretty mellow.
Okay.
We like to have as
Chill.
much chill time as possible.
Yep.
And we have family coming in right before the holiday and friends coming in right after the holiday. So
Right.
we have like this 3-day, 72-hour block where I can be here
Yeah.
with you.
That's right.
And everyone else. So
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
We have 3 services, 4, 7, and 10.
Yes.
And then Christmas Day we have 10 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's great.
how about you? Any big traditions?
We know, again, a lot of church, and then Christmas Day we will make sure we drink some hot chocolate and open gifts.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Even in Florida we drink hot chocolate,
Yum.
marshmallows, and Tony's got a whole recipe that he
Turn up
uses.
the AC
Yeah, he's got
and-
special mugs and stuff.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they're special mugs.
Fabulous.
Great. So the incarnation, and we get the classic, the other ones, the other readings, 2 and 3. I think 3 has the Gospel of John, chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. We read that Christmas Day. Christmas Eve, we read Luke 2, which is the kind of classic. In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be counted, and that's where we get Mary and Joseph ending up in the stable with Jesus born in the manger. We get the shepherds who are keeping their watch over a flock by night with the angel appearing, and they go off, and the whole choir of angels comes in singing glory to God in the highest, and then we get Mary and Joseph in the manger and in the stable, and it says that that the shepherds were amazed at what had happened, but Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. So, this kind of our classic understanding of Christmas,
Yes.
and certainly how we understand it historically.
And I just want to point out, Luke always does a lot of writing about women, but really includes Mary's perspective of the experience.
Right.
And that is so beautiful because that's not lifted up a whole lot. And so when Luke does that here, it's just so wonderful. She treasured all the words and pondered them in her heart. It really speaks to her experience.
Right.
It's her baby. It's her first baby, right?
Right,
And so
right.
the miracle of this is really reflected here from her mom's experience, which
Right.
is beautiful.
There are lots of avenues. As an associate, I didn't have to preach on Christmas Eve, except for one time when Jim was on sabbatical. But now that I'm a rector, you kind of look at this and try to mine different part.
I'm
Am I
sure.
going to go with Mary's perspective, the shepherd's perspective,
Yeah.
the angel's perspective,
Right.
Joseph's perspective? I think people have done like the perspective of the cows or whatever animals are in the stable.
I'd like to see that one. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and kind of what that was about. So I definitely don't know what I'm doing this year.
So
We've
I
still
won't
got a
ask.
week. We've got a week
Okay.
from the time
Okay.
we're recording this.
Okay.
But I love. I do kind of love that. This scene has been ingrained in our collective imaginations, right? This scene that I think for most of us would be pretty, when we think about it as Jesus, it's idyllic, right? It reminds us of, Christmas Eve and lights and candles and dinner and, hymns and all that stuff. For Christmas Day, it reminds us of presents and kind of trees and all of those things. I actually think that the nitty gritty of it is actually quite different. I think that it's a scene of real struggle. Mary and Joseph, there's no room in the inn. She's got to have this baby. They, put him outside in this barn, and then the shepherds who show up. Oh, aren't sheep so cute? Well, shepherds are like the lowest of the low. If you couldn't get a job, you became a shepherd, right? And they show up kind of dirty and gross, and they live out with the sheep, and they smell like the sheep. And so this idea that that's in some way an honor to Jesus, historically speaking, in that cultural context, would have been a bit of a weird thing to celebrate.
He was anti-empire from the start, right?
He was pretty,
I mean, just his birth, just the announcement of his birth, bringing all the people in, not the people that had fancy purple robes and smelled great. He was bringing in the people's people.
Right.
And being surrounded by them from the moment, you didn't have to say a word, and he was already teaching.
And right.
Yeah.
And the way the angels show up as well. And angels, as I always like to say, whenever you encounter an angel in the Bible, the first thing they say is, do not be afraid, because angels are terrifying. And
they're not the pretty little ones we they're like
they're big and
eyeballs
and they're
wings coming out of the forehead and all
so
that. Yeah.
They show up and the first thing, of course, they say to the shepherds is, do not be afraid. So the one thing I will say as a person who now has gone through 45 of these Christmases is that there is this, I feel like I'm in some sort of an in-between place between like my childhood and what I kind of remember as a kid with Christmas, which is still seared into my consciousness. And, watching, I mean, my nephews are really young. I don't have children of my own. So like kind of having that experience, I'm not really familiar with that, versus kind of what Christmas is like for many of our parishioners who are dealing with loss at this time, that kind of longest night that we celebrate because they're living in their own grief. So do you find that at all to be a little bit of an in-between place?
Yeah, I mean, this is my first Christmas without both of my parents.
Right.
And so for me, I can totally relate to that. And I think that there's always this bittersweet, reminiscing when we listen to the old carols, or we come to church and the service is the same, and yet we're surrounded by totally different people. And there is a loneliness that comes along with the holidays.
Right.
And blessed are us on the years that feeling is not there. Because the reality is, for many of us, the majority of our lives, there is some, wistfulness around this holiday in particular.
Right.
And so I think that's a commonality that we share that we don't really talk about a lot. So I'm glad that you're really lifting that up.
Well, and I also, I was thinking about it recently when the school had their Christmas concert and the parents and grandparents, the church was totally packed. And I can imagine that parents who have children are, first of all, stressed at this time of year. Second of all, they've done all of this work to get ready for the meal and the house and the visitors and the presents and the tree and the decorations and the list goes on and on and on. You've done all this work, and then your child or children open these gifts that have been carefully curated over time for some families, and they're met. I think sometimes they're met with something other than gratitude, right? Like I can kind of think back to my own childhood, and there were definitely Christmases where my brother and sister and I had some sharp words with my parents, about like, I did not get the thing I was supposed to get. And I can imagine that's its own kind of difficult experience for people who are trying to stay in the holiday spirit, right?
Yeah. And it's hard.
Which is why I also told the students on the last chapel, say thank you.
Yeah.
Like say thank you to God, say thank you to your parents, your grandparents, like be grateful.
And that's the whole struggle of secularism and faith within this holiday, especially.
Right.
Even more so than Easter, right? I mean, this is the one where we struggle the most. But I also think too, when we look back in our own experiences as kids, that time was so tiny. I don't remember when I was disappointed by a Christmas gift to make all, like, I don't remember, right? Like, I remember my grandmother being there and falling asleep under the Christmas tree. And I kind of remember when we took that one photo that's like the iconic photo of my family of me and my grandmother together. Like, I remember those feelings. So fear not, parents. I think that we have a sense of like the time we didn't get the right color bike, but for the most part, it's really about.
And most of my sense is actually about my siblings not getting what they wanted. So but I'm the firstborn, so that's my job to.
They don't watch this because you're tattletaling now.
I don't think they watch this. It's okay. Maybe my dad will watch it.
Anyway, I'm sure he will.
Good. So I do think all of that said, like with all of that as our background, I think that we do have an invitation spiritually to enter into this season, into this holiday, into this feast day, right? The 12 days of Christmas, in a way that is meant to nourish our soul in some particular way. Like that, and that doesn't have to be scripted. It's not something that you have to do, there's no like expectation on that, but rather that the mystery of God becoming human in our lives is a reality that we celebrate every year because it happens all the time in our own hearts, right? Like God shows up not just on Christmas, but all the time. And our job, I think, is to kind of take note, that take notice that God's there. God's with us.
And the miracle that he was, indescribable miracle that he was here in human form. It's still wow, like that's wild.
It's wild.
It's wild. Yeah. Right?
And good news.
Yes.
And good news. Okay. The Isaiah passage, if we can turn to that really quickly. This is a, I always talk about it on this podcast about how famous all these verses are, and we have so many famous ones. The people who have walked in darkness have seen a great light. On them, on those lived in the land of deep darkness, on them light has shined, right? So this same, it is not that God has just come to a neutral place to show up. I mean, God is really bringing something into a place that is torn or broken or oppressed or strife-ridden. For a child has been born for us, a son given to us, authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
And it's that peace, I think, that really, for me, defines like the moment in the Christmas service, right? There is a special peace that the roots of it are in our Old Testament. Yeah. That just
for a lot of people, it's Silent Night.
Yeah.
And the lights go down and you get the candles out. We don't do that at 4 because of children, but
fire and kids.
Yeah, fire and kids is not a good mix. But yeah, I think that's right. And if peace for me is oftentimes momentary, meaning that it's a moment of that when all of that
fleeting.
Kind of clicks together. It is fleeting, but yet that moment kind of resets my own soul to see the rest of life through the lens of that peace.
Right? And that sticks to you. That's what sticks to your bones. Keeps us coming back.
It does keep us coming back. Good. Anything else you want to say about that?
No.
Isaiah?
That's great.
All right.
Yeah.
Psalm 96. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the whole earth. A great, kind of a great psalm that is helping us to give glory to God and kind of the way in which God's creation declares God's glory. So a really good one there.
There's one line that always sticks out to me in this one, which is 7, you families of the peoples. I love that, especially in today's world, just the unification that Christmas Day brings all of us. Right. It's so beautiful. We are the families of all the peoples. Right. And what a beautiful line. What a beautiful word. I love that line.
Titus 2:11-14. For the grace of God has appeared, bringing salvation to all, training us to renounce impiety, worldly passions, and in the present age to live lives that are self-controlled, upright, and godly, while we wait for the blessed hope and manifestation of the glory of our great God and Savior, Jesus Christ. He it is who gave himself for us, that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify for himself a people of his own who are zealous for good deeds.
I mean, we're struggling with the same stuff they were
Zealous.
struggling when they wrote this, right? I mean,
Right.
worldly possessions, zealous for good deeds. That's that's the lesson we teach the kids, right?
Yes, I think there's something about that I'm at first it seems out of place in my mind. It seems out of place within the lectionary.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because it's like, that's a little like heavy. It's Christmas, like lighten up, buddy.
It's Worldly Goods Day.
Right? I mean,
International.
But I do think there's something about, okay, you've seen the light.
Yeah.
And it's not simply a spectator sport. Like, seeing the light means being changed at some level. Like, experiencing God, experiencing, even in the complexities of the soul that we were talking about just a minute ago, there's something about that changes us into, people who are, purified, people who are zealous for good deeds. It changes us into a people who are able to glorify God in our own lived experience and in our communities. And I think that's, I don't want to make that into like a law. It's not, for me, it's not about, oh, if you don't do that, their consequences are coming,
Sure.
right? It's more about how the good news kind of pulls us. It's like you can't help but to do the things that Christ is calling us to do and that we're following Christ into doing.
Well, the grace of God has appeared and it transforms all of us, right? If we're
right.
open to the grace of God, then all of a sudden the need for the worldly possessions do die off a little bit, right? And we are like, no, I'll wear the old sweater instead of a new funky Christmas one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, that's the blessing of it.
Last question that I have for you. Are you more of a Christmas person or an Easter person? Do you like how I live in binary sometimes?
I mean, I don't know that I can answer. I don't think I can pick. Because they're both his births.
Yes.
So for me, it's like, how can you pick between... Because the God Jesus that I know is the one after Easter, right?
Right.
I didn't meet Christmas baby Jesus.
Right.
And then he goes away for 18 years, so we don't know his whole life, and then he reappears in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Isn't it 18 years?
I thought it was 13.
Oh, well, we'll have to do our math. We'll
Okay.
have to look. But yeah,
When he appears in the temple as a kid, is that what you're
12,
talking about?
and then he comes back at 30.
30, yeah.
So
Yeah,
18, right?
Oh, no, from the birth to the 12
Yeah.
and then to the 30.
Yeah,
okay, got
it's
it.
18
Sorry.
years. So I'm just
Getting
kind
hung
of
up on
like,
math here. Yeah.
I am not the math one.
good.
But the point is, I feel like my relationship with Jesus is the Jesus after the resurrection. And so in that way, that's reassuring to me. So I might have to pick Easter if I had to pick one. How about you?
I'm gonna change the question a little bit.
Okay.
Historically, as a kid, I like Christmas more than Easter because of the whole like night and the dinner and the thing like that.
Sure.
And, like we always had a certain meal that we had.
Yeah.
Whereas Easter is like, well, you never really know. Like we could be at home, we could be out.
I gotcha.
at
It's
brunch.
tradition-wise.
It's tradition-wise.
Okay.
Tradition-wise, Easter. I think tradition-wise, Christmas. Spiritually, because Easter and Holy Week is like a marathon at the end of Lent, I think there's a spiritual depth in there that I've experienced as an adult that I really gravitate toward. I will say, as a priest, Holy Week and Easter will wipe you out a little bit.
Yeah.
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 So Christmas is like, wow, we did that. Like that was
it's like a
blitz. It's like a sprint, right?
yeah.
You go through 4 services in 24 hours and then you're done.
Right.
And it's great because
And
you're
the
kind of on the
music's
high.
awesome.
Oh, and the music's awesome.
Awesome.
I mean, the music's awesome at Easter too.
Yeah.
But like with Holy Week and Easter, the nice part about that as a priest, Holy Week and Easter, is that all you're doing is church. So like from Palm Sunday, the bulletins are done. The office work is done. Like you don't have to answer emails. Most people are not emailing you on Holy Week anyway, except you're, unless it's like an acolyte or something.
Right.
And so you really get to just be like a priest. You don't
Yes.
have to do all the office stuff and the
Yes.
all the
yes.
other prep stuff. You just get to go straight through it. So in that way, I really like it. Even though I find it more tiring for Holy Week and
I mean,
Easter as a
Holy
priest.
Week is the
Yeah.
week-long Super Bowl event,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For all clergy or church people in general.
Right.
I have to say, I do like the Christmas music more than the Easter music.
Oh,
though.
really?
Yeah, I do love the.
Well, give
I
that a
do.
couple decades, and
I do.
you'll be singing Easter hymns, and then you start doing Good Friday hymns, and like there's all sorts
Yeah.
of stuff that you get really
The
attached
Good Friday,
to.
the Monday,
so, Monday, Thursday.
I sob every year.
Palm
Sob every year.
Sunday, yeah. So
yeah.
it becomes great. Well, I think that's pretty good.
It's great.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you and your family and whoever it is that you will be with in this holiday season have a wonderful and Merry Christmas. We hope you'll join us for church on Christmas Eve at 4 with the family service, 7 for our festive Eucharist, and 10 for our candlelit Eucharist, and then 10 a.m. on Christmas Day. We just pray that you have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See you soon.